Welcome to Ops&Allies.
Welcome back to Ops&Allies, where strategy meets science and alliances meet analysis. I'm Sarah, your host and friendly neighborhood behavior analyst.
And I'm Bean, and together we're your favorite Final Two Alliance.
On this episode, we'll recap the third full week of Big Brother 27. We'll talk about gameplay, houseguest dynamics, and all along the way, we're going to talk about the behavior behind the chaos.
Oh, yeah. And we get a little bit emotional this week. A little bit of, heightened emotions, some betrayal.
I feel like week 3 is the week that we're going to see a lot of that stuff really set in, because I think that it's really hitting them that they're in this Big Brother house away from the outside world. You're going to for sure see that reality hit them.
And the connections are getting tighter, so when the betrayal comes, it hurts so much more.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Bean, take us back to Sunday night so that we can recap and talk through what happened.
We gotta set the scene. We have HOH competition and nominations to make. Real quick, before we hit the HOH competition, we get a little bit of a throwback. I think maybe editing was trying to do a little foreshadowing with Keanu throwing Will under the bus, if you recall, after the Zay vote and the Burger Boys. Somebody flipped. It was Riley. But Keanu was dead set on it being Will. So that distrust is there. Obviously, at this point, he just has distrust with all of the house.
What I think his problem is, and we see it here, we saw it with his fallout with Rachel, he just says things with such confidence and conviction and so loudly, and it's going to ruffle feathers. So he's got to reel it in.
What strikes me as wild with Keanu, too, and it's just so infuriating, is that he doesn't seem to realize that he's doing something that is going to piss the rest of the house off.
No, it's a good idea in his head because it makes logical sense, but he doesn't think beyond how it's going to affect him.
Keanu,
So
you're a little unpredictable. Maybe could use a good dose of self-awareness, but
media training.
yeah. I hope this is great for him to watch back. Alliance alert.
I love this.
I feel like you would absolutely love this alliance. I love it too.
Rachel and Ava have a final 2. So Rachel's mom squad BFF final 2, Amy went home last week. So she had a spot to fill, essentially. But I think they made this connection anyway. So Rachel and Ava have a final 2, which is really cool because I love Rachel. And Ava, I did not think, based on first impressions, I did not think I was going to like her this much.
She's hilarious.
She's so funny.
And she got a lot of screen time this week, too. Because, she's just funny. She's kind of a joy to watch, especially in a house that's kind of, I don't know, filled with a bunch of people feeling the stress of, social norms. And Ava's just kind of, being herself, it feels like. Which is just so refreshing in a house that, it is so fake in there. I love it, too. Ava's, enamored with Rachel.
She calls her mother.
Yeah. Ava called Rachel the hottest in the house. She said, if she didn't have a boyfriend
and Rachel wasn't married
with kids, then sure.
Oh man,
it's great.
I would never have put those two together, but I'm very excited to see what they do.
Well, you know what? I think they have a good fashion sense together, and that they wear things that are completely outside of what everyone else in the house wears.
And it makes them feel good. They go with what makes them feel good for themselves. So.
Yeah, so, hop off their back, Jimmy.
Yeah,
which is a good segue into the next thing of Double Threat being pissed at Jimmy still. They are unhappy with this man.
Yeah, they're visibly pissed at him after eviction from last week. So we'll see if they stand. We'll talk about them again in this episode because we see some fallout potentially between Mickey and Morgan too.
Yeah, no, Triple Threat seems to be falling apart a little bit this week, unfortunately.
My two favorite alliances falling apart.
Yeah.
Well, Amy's gone, so Mom Squad's dead. Triple Threat, well, really double threat,
Hey,
in my opinion.
You play fast and loose at the beginning a little bit with these alliances. Some are bound to fail.
True.
But yeah, definitely when we get into the Mickey and Morgan splitting, that's just sloppy gameplay. But let's get into our HOH competition. We have the Twin Witness News coming to you live. Just kidding. It was previously recorded by the Nolan twins, previous house guests and twin sisters in the BB universe. So Julia and Liz, the Nolan twins, broadcast through a video message to these house guests. And these are wild things. They're giving us basically wild-ass Florida stories. And the house guests are tasked with remembering as much as they can from these eyewitness accounts and then answering a series of true and false questions about them. They do 2 waves, 2 stories. So, yeah, it was kind of a weed-out round. We kind of split in half right at the first vote.
This does not bode well for memory and these types of comps in the future for this group of house guests.
It was rough. It felt like it went by pretty quick. So we have Ashley, Keanu, Will, Vince, Catherine, Kelly, all out immediately.
First round. Next round, only Ava goes out. The following round, Riley, Zach, Morgan, Adrian, Rachel. So now we're, after 3 rounds, we're down to just 2 people.
Yeah, that's really fast. I was expecting to get some drawing boards out. I love it when that happens on these comps. But hey, here we are. Drawing boards happen when, you get to a tie. Once they get through all the questions, and you still have people, left guessing everything right. So, yeah, we have Mickey versus Lauren as final 2. Dun 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 dun, our new HOH winner, your crown, Miss Queen, Lauren.
Yeah, Lauren wins.
Lauren wins, and everyone's like,
what will
what?
she do?
Yeah, everyone's just going, I don't really know if I'm safe or not. Like, I think I am, but am I? Lauren's playing the middle very well. She's doing it purposefully, too.
Mm-hmm.
And she's previously stated that, she kind of wants to play the middle, but drive both sides towards even numbers so that, they continue to fight against each other while she, assures her own alliances. Is this a week that maybe Mickey could use her power?
I don't know. I mean, it sets itself up for that because, again, nobody knows what Lauren's going to do.
Right.
But she also, because she's trying to ride the middle of the house, we're not likely to see big moves being made.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me think Mickey is not going to use her power.
Right. And she ultimately doesn't. She has her talk with Lauren, ends up feeling safe enough to the point where she thinks, yeah, I could save this for another day if one of my enemies is up against me as HOH.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing with Lauren, right? Like, she can make most people feel fairly safe in this house, which doesn't necessarily bode well for putting people up on the block then.
Especially when you have to put at least 3 people up.
Mm-hmm. This is really the first time now that Lauren has HOH that we see some of her relationships more. We haven't gotten a whole lot of Lauren's screen time, but it turns out her and Vinny are very close.
Yeah, apparently they made a final 2.
Yeah, Alliance Alert, round 2, final 2 deal. Vinny and Lauren. I had no idea that was in the works.
No, I mean, there's always going to be alliances and things behind the scenes that we don't see in the edited episodes, but I don't think I would have guessed this. And that's what, Julie should be sitting here with us and saying, why are you so surprised? You should be expecting the unexpected.
Yeah, of course, Julie. Thank you. But now Vinny's got 2 final 2s, one with Kelly, one with Lauren.
He certainly has the most alliances in the house at this current moment.
Vinny is playing most likely to get caught later in the season.
Absolutely. We'll talk about his lying behavior in a little bit, but He likes to make promises that he likely cannot keep, at least not. This behavior is not sustainable in the long run. So he's going to have to adapt if he wants to stick around.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's going to...
He can hide right now because there's a lot of people, but once we get down to fewer numbers, it's going to be a little bit more rocky. So let's see how he does. Because he has a lot of potential.
Yeah, I genuinely like Vinny, and he seems very smart. So I would love to see him go far. And it's nice to have, mustache representation in the house. Next we go...
So there's a scene where we see Rachel in the bathroom talking with Ashley about how she's so frustrated about not winning competitions this season like she did in her previous seasons, which, yeah, she was a comp beast. And she would even get mad at Brendan because he wasn't winning at the frequency or at the rate that she was winning.
Right.
And she was like, why can't you just win? We need to talk to her about statistics, but that's another story for another day. You can't win everything.
Yeah, and we're 3 weeks in, girl. Dang, there have been, 5 comps?
She's only played in a total of 3 competitions.
That's right, because she missed the first 2.
Mm-hmm. And she hasn't played in all of the vetoes. So she's only played in 3. Give yourself a break. But anyway, let's break this down behaviorally because I think it's just such a perfect example. Even though it's not super imperative to the storyline of this episode, it is interesting to break it down because it's such a good example. And the fallout of it might influence her behavior later on.
Let me take a stab at this.
Okay.
She's crying in the bathroom. She's kind of having a little outburst, right? Because she's not getting what she wants. She's not getting that juicy HOH win, that veto comp. She's not getting that clout, all these things. And it's just, she's used to it. And now that she doesn't get it, she's getting filled with frustration, and it's leading to an outburst.
Yeah, exactly. So when we see behavior that has previously been reinforced, i.e., she plays in comps and wins comps, right? She gets all the power from participating and winning the comps. Previously, that was the reinforcement for it. But now she's engaging in the behavior and not getting the same outcome. She's not getting the reinforcement at all. It's being withheld by Big Brother universe.
Or her own skills, yo.
Or the comps changing over time, whatever it is, she's not getting the reinforcement. So you're right. She has this outburst. Do you know what we call that?
What do we call it?
We call that an extinction burst.
Extinction, distinction, bye-bye dinosaur.
Oh my gosh. So extinction is what we call the procedure of not reinforcing a behavior anymore. So she's kind of going through that right now. Although I want to reiterate, it's only been 3 competitions, so there is plenty of time. But she hasn't received the reinforcement yet this season. So she's kind of having some emotions about it. And we often see that when extinction is in place, we see an increase in behaviors. We see an increase in frustration. Ultimately, in other areas of life, we might see the behavior decrease them, because if you're not contacting reinforcement, what's the point of continuing the behavior?
There is no point.
But Rachel's a tough cookie, and this season of Big Brother is not going to last forever. So because we're in this weird contrived situation, hopefully we're not going to see her just give up on these comps. Although I feel like old Rachel, maybe, but new age Rachel, I think she will persist.
Yeah, I agree. She's definitely tougher than she used to be. And I do feel like we see these extinction bursts, particularly around competition losses, get more prevalent as the seasons go on, because people are still even just reinforced by the fun and joy of playing in the games and competing.
True.
And you definitely see some house guests continue throughout the season and start to lose the joy in competing, even just because they're losing and losing and losing and losing. For me, I'd just be so ecstatic to see all the sets and to play games.
Yeah, you're there for the journey, not the destination always.
Absolutely. So, yeah, first extinction burst talk. That's really fun. Extinction always makes me happy because it just reminds me of the dinos. So, speaking of people that are not long for this world or this house, let's get back to Keanu and Lauren. He, comes up to the HOH room. He asks to sit on the bed with her. He, keeps inching closer. Lauren's clearly like, what are you doing, dude?
At first, I thought it was a power move. I thought he was, trying... Because she was up on the bed. He was on the couch. Mm-hmm. And I thought he was trying to sit at the same level as her as, a power move of, we're on the same level.
I think he was trying to make it more vulnerable. And be like, yeah, we can talk openly. I just don't think he read her social cues at all.
And honestly, I truly don't know if his advances, because he does, he keeps moving closer. He keeps trying to inch his way to almost like a cuddle situation. I don't think he realized what energy he was putting out there. Mm-hmm. He is not reading the social cues from her that she doesn't want this behavior to continue. She's trying to use extinction on him. Mm-hmm. She's trying to cut off any reinforcement he's getting. She's looking away. She's barely talking to him, barely responding, not reciprocating the physical touch, and he's just not getting it. So his behavior is very resistant to extinction.
Yeah, and the Big Brother house has a tendency to get very cuddly, very touchy-feely, even if it's not a romantic way, just human interaction is something that these house guests seek out. Then it's nice and it's comforting.
Yeah, it's a basic human need for everybody. Yeah.
So yeah, Keanu, it's not working out for you very well there, dude. Look, again, he painted the target on his house. He told everyone that he's going to go after him. He shouldn't be surprised that he's getting the cold shoulder from a lot of the house. So the other kind of bigger interaction with Lauren comes in the way of Kelly. Goodness gracious, Kelly.
Gosh.
We're going 3 for 3 weeks in a row, volunteering to put herself up on the block as a pawn.
So let's talk about this, because I find this very interesting.
Yeah.
And later on, she talks to Vince, and I think he's right. She's just having fun. She is just playing this game. And sometimes, when this initially happened in the episode where she's volunteering to be a pawn, I'm like, what are you doing, girl? But the more I think about it, the more I realize she's playing this game right. She's playing the way she wants to play. She's just having fun because it is just a game, and I think we need that reminder sometimes.
Oh, it's been really fun to watch. It's just, again, it's very fast and loose with your life in this game.
True.
There's a lot of risk in this behavior.
You get one chance.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the possibilities of the function of her behavior here. Because I think... Well, I have some thoughts.
Would you say the ABCs of behavior?
I will always say the ABCs of behavior.
Which are, again, the antecedent, the behavior, and the consequence.
That's right.
Boom. We're learning.
Yeah, breaking down the ABC, what happens right before, what is the behavior, and what happens right after really helps to figure out why something's happening.
So lay it on us. What's the antecedent here?
So she sees the HOH, doesn't know who they want to put up.
Right.
We've seen that 3 weeks in a row, right? Her behavior is volunteering to go up as a pawn. And every time, my heart skips a beat for her. And I'm like, hey, don't do that. Pawns go home. But the consequence is she goes up, and then eventually she wins something and takes herself off the block. So we can look into this a few different ways because it's very layered, right? Just based on that information,
I think we got it.
Negative reinforcement contingency in here because she's taking herself off the block twice now. Well, spoiler alert, she does it again. So we are going to see this behavior in the future where she volunteers herself as a pawn. But I also want to point out that she is consciously making this decision to volunteer because she wants to foster these relationships with these people and kind of have a bank of it's okay. You can just owe me one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's like Andy from The Office.
Yep.
Yeah, you owe me. No, you owe me. Yeah, and she's trying to build up her resume. She's trying to, go out there, play a game that has a lot to vote for in the end.
So in this, if you look at it that way, we have positive reinforcement as our maintaining variable. So I think because this behavior is maintained by multiple factors, it's going to be even stronger.
Right.
So I don't know if it's going to be next week or the following week, but she is going to volunteer to go up as a pawn again at least a couple more times.
I would think so, especially if it's any of her allies that she's already done it for. But it's kind of the opposite of Rachel, right? Like, she's getting these opportunities to play games, and she's winning and having a good time doing that. And now she's just seeking it out more and more. Which is, I get it. The games are fun. Ultimately, leads up to our nominations for the week. Lauren takes Kelly up on her offer, puts her up. We know she doesn't like Keanu, puts him up. Now Lauren has this third nomination. She really doesn't have a clear decision to make. She ends up really following the path of what gets the least amount of blood on her hands.
Clearly avoidance behavior.
Yeah, absolutely. Just avoiding, as she's trying to have as few people mad at her as possible. Best place to go for that in the Big Brother house, for most people, seems to be who was previously nominated. In this case, she's kind of weighing her options between Adrian and Will. And she has conversations with both of them, and is alluding to both of them that, hey, I may put you up as a pawn. Very different responses for both of them.
Yeah, Adrian takes more of a subtle approach to kind of try to steer her away from putting him on the block. And Will pretty much just tells her, Don't put me on the block.
Don't do it or I'm going to be pissed.
He's pissed when she eventually puts him up on the block as a third nom. I thought she would have gone with Adrian to avoid pissing Will off.
Right. I think ultimately she saw Adrian as a better number for her game, and she wanted to keep him around. Again, it may be a little bit of just kind of like the age gap creeping in, unfortunately. So yeah, we got Keanu, Kelly, Will, all up on the block, with Will and Kelly really up there as pawns. Keanu is the clear target this week.
Right. Yeah, and like you said, Will and Kelly have been put up as pawns in previous weeks, so that behavior has been modeled for her. She's avoiding getting extra blood on her hands by putting up somebody who's never been on the block. So that takes us to Wednesday.
Our Power of Veto episode. Yeah, Will is pissed. He calls it a weak-ass move.
The PG version of what he was saying about Jimmy's bitch-ass move.
Yeah. I was honestly a little disappointed he didn't bust it back out. But he said he has to pray. He doesn't stay on the block. Me and the Lord got to get close. And Will's just kind of stewing outside about how fake everybody in the house is.
Yeah, when Lauren approaches him and she pretty quickly comes up to him and apologizes for putting him up on the block, he's just zoning out. He's like, this isn't real.
This means
this
nothing.
Is fake. If you were sorry, you wouldn't have done it.
Which is 100% true, right? If you were sorry about it, then don't do it.
So it's starting to, no matter what happens in your HOH, you're going to ruffle some feathers. You have to. It's the name of the game. So we see some cracks in the house starting to develop and become deeper. Will starts to become a little bit closer with Ashley, so that might be a possible alliance down the line.
He keeps saying that Ashley reminds him of his daughter, and yeah, Ashley's one of the ones that comes to comfort Will after he's, again, clearly visibly upset. Next we have Keanu chatting up with Adrian, and the rest of the house as well, but namely this one was kind of funny, where he's asking people to, hey, if I get picked for a nomination in the veto ceremony, can I bring you in and ask you to compete for me and take me off the block? So Keanu asks Adrian if he'd use the veto if he gets picked.
Adrian comes in with a very roundabout way of saying, no, don't pick me. Don't do that. I'm not going to use it on you. But he says it in a nice way, and a very diplomatic way.
Right. No, he's very sweet and polite about it. I think he can maybe stand to be more direct about it. But yeah, I think overall he does a good job of handling those situations. Keanu he's not getting traction with anybody. And he just goes in the diary room and goes, "What a bunch of selfish players up in here, dog."
Oh my gosh, Keanu. I don't want to beat a dead horse here because it's all we've been saying about him, but he just has no idea what other people are thinking. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a selfish game, bro. There's $750,000 on the line.
Yeah.
And also, last week you told everybody you were going to pick them off one by one.
It's
so
like
why would they use the veto on you?
He doesn't take the context of his own actions into account when evaluating the people's reactions to him. Maybe try it.
Maybe try it.
Maybe try it. You know who does tell Keanu yes, though, in the end, though, is Vince.
Yep.
He does not mean it, but he says yes.
He's kind of telling everybody what they want to hear. And if you think back, he was the first HOH, so everybody was coming to him and kissing his ass, and a lot of relationships between Vince and other house guests were blooming because they were all running to him because he had the first power of the season. And now we see that people are going to him because they trust him, and maybe he knows what he's doing, but I'm getting the impression that he's just telling everybody what they want to hear.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you.
Oh, lay it on me.
I want to see if you can figure out what the function of his behavior is here. Everybody's coming to him and asking if he'll use the veto in the way that they want him to. So, is this positive reinforcement because him saying, yes, I will use the veto the way you want me to? Is that him getting the reaction he wants in the moment? Or is it negative reinforcement because he's avoiding the uncomfortable situation of telling somebody that they don't, telling somebody something that they don't want to hear?
That's interesting. So I think with Ashley, it was negative reinforcement in his original HOH, right? He was like, yeah, say whatever I need to say to like get you to leave. Here, I do think it's so far positive reinforcement because he is continuing to build the trust and get like more of those conversations, get more of that trust with people. So he continues on with his behavior.
I think it's a trick question on my part. I think it's both.
Well, all right, you knucklehead. Yeah, he is trying to avoid it, but he's kind of weaponizing it.
A little bit, yeah.
Which I think is...
It can be smart.
I think this week in particular is not bad gameplay for him. So he ends up telling not just Keanu yes, but he tells Kelly that he'll take her off the block. Final two with her. He also tells Lauren that if he wins, he'll keep her knobs the same and not take anybody off the block. So he has final two deals in this group. He tells everyone, yeah, I'll do what you want me to do, even though they're conflicting things. But I don't actually think that this is necessarily bad because he's in a position where if he does get picked, he can just throw the comp.
Yeah, this is fairly low stakes, especially because we'll see it's an individual comp, so nobody's watching him, so he can be silly goofy, and he does get silly goofy. And dude, you have to throw this comp.
Yeah,
he cannot win this veto, or then his game is just, you can say goodbye. You can pack your bag and get ready to meet Julie now. No, but
he would have to draw lines in the sand.
He would have to draw lines in the sand.
And hey, you want to hear something great? He gets picked to play the veto comp.
Well, of course, yeah, because editing showed promising all these people, so obviously they're building up for him getting picked for the comp.
Yeah, and then Will gets to make his pick. He gets his chip drawn, and he picks Ashley to join the competition. So again, furthering that, he feels good with Ashley. Says, hey, come on, win this veto for me. So now we got Lauren, HOH, our 3 nominations. Vince and Ashley, ready to do veto competition. What do they have to do? They gotta go full spy mode. Full laser room security measures. And they have to go in, steal an object by dodging through all of these wall-to-wall lasers, and then bring this object back with them through the lasers. Fun fact, this object is the size of a person. It is... I don't even know what it is, to be honest. Like a huge-ass anchor.
No, it's a crystal.
It's a big-ass crystal. It's basically Billy Crystal. So they need to go steal Billy Crystal and then bring him back through all these lasers. A variety of techniques in this competition. You get, some people going slow, methodical. You get Keanu going, I'm going to go fast and furious and just get in the zone. Immediately just starts hitting all the lasers.
Yeah, maybe not the best move.
Yeah. This was, kind of a fun competition. It's hard to gauge how well everyone's doing during the editing, to be honest. They just kind of show little snippets of everyone going through. All their fails, which is kind of funny.
I do want to point out Vince, like I said, is being silly goofy in here. He stops at a statue and plays rock, paper, scissors with it. So there's nobody else in the room, maybe some production people, but
right.
There's nobody else in the room, and let's just assume production is behind cameras and he's not seeing them. So he stops and does a bunch of silly things like playing rock, paper, scissors with a statue. Is this automatic reinforcement or socially mediated reinforcement?
Huh. Is this another trick question? Because I feel like there's the one, this is for him. If he's going to spend this time, just do it for you and be silly for yourself because it's fun. But he's also very fully aware that he's on camera, and I think there's some showman in him going, hey, if I'm going to do this, let's make it interesting for the people watching.
Yeah, I do think it's a little bit of both, but the reinforcement happens in the moment here, and it's automatic.
Gotcha.
Because he won't know how people react to him until afterwards. So in the moment, throughout the comp, it's automatic reinforcement.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. Or a very, very delayed social mediated, but you can't get around that.
Reinforcement has the most saliency when it happens within 30 seconds of the behavior.
Gotcha.
Not that it can't
Rather
have an
than 30
effect.
days.
Yeah. Not that it can't have an effect after that window, but we see a better effect if it's quick.
Mm-hmm. Will seemed to struggle a lot in this comp.
It looked hard.
Yeah.
At first I was like, oh, that's easy, but then you get the crystal.
Kelly seemed to be having a hard time manhandling Billy Crystal.
Oh my gosh.
So at the end of the competition, we always talk about how we're a little disappointed in the way that they present the times now. So in these kind of ranked comps where, the house doesn't get to see it, but they do get to see the times at the end. They used to show all of the contestants' times. Now they're only showing the top 3. Which I think is lame.
Yeah, I like to see when people time out, and because they usually put like a 30-minute time limit, and if you hit the 30 minutes, they're like, we're just calling it quit. Let's put you out of your misery here.
And it used to be like another level of the gameplay of, did this person throw the comp?
Yeah, you could see. Right. You could kind of make assumptions based off of people's time. So I wish they would bring that back, but alas, we have the top 3 from this comp. Yeah,
well, I was going to say, so that, part of the gameplay would really, come into play for Vince here. So Vince ends up taking 3rd place. It's exactly where he wants to be. It was like 10 and a half minutes, something like that, it took him to do this. Mm-hmm. So, if they, had all of these times up there, it would honestly just be points in Vince's favor because they'd see how much better he did than the rest of the competition. Oftentimes you do see people timing out on things like this, right? On the flip side, if you saw him take 20 some odd minutes, they'd be like, come on, Vince, we know you're better than that. Even if whether it's true or not, that's, how it'd be perceived. Like, hey, you didn't try your hardest here. Why? So yeah, I do wish that they'd bring that back. Second place came Lauren. Oh, so close, Lauren. You almost had your wish to keep knobs the same. Finally, we have our winner. Sad drum roll. Keanu. Keanu wins, takes himself off the block. Honestly, I'm happy for him. I honestly don't mind him as a player in the game because he offers a little bit more unpredictability and a little bit more spice throughout the game. I do like it when there's a big target. I just find him personally to be obnoxious and unbearable at times.
Yeah, well, you'll be here for another week, so...
Which stinks because I feel like I would probably hang out with him. We could play D&D and work out together, but
it's so different. It's so different watching somebody on TV versus hanging out with them, though.
Mm-hmm. I often wonder what I like myself on TV, and that's exactly why I need to go into Big Brother.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, not only does he win the power of veto, he also wins a luxury prize of getting to not only watch the premiere of The Bad Guys 2,
new movie by DreamWorks,
but he also gets to, you say that like we're sponsored.
Well, I just wanted to give context.
But we are open to sponsors, DreamWorks, if you wanted to.
If you want to give us $1 million.
So,
no less.
So he not only gets to watch this new movie, but he gets to pick 3 people to come watch it with him. Mm-hmm. And he picks, I'm actually quite surprised at first, but then the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. He picks Rachel, Jimmy, and Ava. Mm-hmm. So he picks Rachel very much to get back into her good graces, right? He did have a strong foundation of a good relationship with her. Mm-hmm. Dude, you had it made in the shade. She wanted to take you under her wing. The queen of Big Brother, and you messed it up. So he's trying here, and honestly, he might have done the trick with this one because Rachel has an emotional connection to this movie franchise because of her kids.
Right.
So he picks her, I think, kind of based on the fact that he wants to get in her good graces, and it just so happens that this is the perfect movie to do that with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think it's surprising if he picked Rachel. He also picked the people that he thinks that Rachel's working with.
Mm-hmm. And then he picks Jimmy and Ava, and he essentially picks them for the exact same reason. He just wants to try to build relationships back with these people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think everyone else was surprised to be picked as well. But at this point, I feel like anyone would have been surprised to be picked by Keanu to join him up there.
I think it's kind of ironic that Keanu won this reward watching The Bad Guys, because I don't know if you know much about this movie franchise.
Very little.
It's these animals, they're bad guys. Mm-hmm. They commit crimes and they're bad, and then they turn good. Mm-hmm. They do maybe some bad things, but for good reasons. So kind of ironic that he won this reward. He wants to be what these characters are. He wants to have a redemption arc, but can he pull it off?
Right.
After the bold statements he made last week about picking everybody off one by one, he definitely has an uphill battle ahead of him.
It's a really good way to be seen as a good guy, not being a bad guy in the first place.
Well, now that he is a bad guy in the eyes of the house, he needs to use counter conditioning to make himself reinforcing, where right now he's an aversive stimulus for a lot of people.
Gotcha. So yeah, when you say counter conditioning, that's just like you're just transitioning from like aversive to reinforcing.
Mm-hmm. Or
cool.
Vice versa, but
right.
In this instance, yes, we want to flip the script.
We'll see. We'll see what he does. I like your script pun with the movie.
Thanks.
See what you did there.
Thanks.
Yeah, now Lauren has to name another nomination. Keanu's going to take himself up off the block. Who is she going to consider? Again, she doesn't want any blood on her hands. She considers putting up Ashley, but fears that, this might piss a certain subsection of the house off more than what she's really willing to do at this point in the game. She's not really looking to draw any lines in the sand. Mm-hmm. Ashley maybe has some beef with her friend Kat from the whole Showergate incident, but I don't think it's strong enough. And she feels like Ashley might be coming after her ally Vince, particularly because of Showergate. So that might be, a point towards putting Ashley up. Is it strong enough? Her other option is who she considered originally, which is Adrian, which would be kind of the safe move because Adrian was just up on the block and would be kind of seen as a pawn here. With, again, I think now that Keanu's off the block, the next target moves to Kelly.
Yeah, and then we do see Kelly kind of get worried about that.
See, if Kelly is a target, Will is a pawn, who do you put up as another pawn? Well, the person who was just up as a pawn. That's the hard part about being a pawn. Once you're there, it's hard to break that cycle. And it's why Will was so pissed. Go to the veto ceremony, renomination ends up being Adrian. So she takes the path of getting as little blood on her hands as possible.
Yep, classic avoidance behavior throughout her entire HOH reign.
Which has just kind of been the case for Jimmy's and Lauren's back-to-back now. They seemed woefully underprepared. Hopefully they're good learning lessons. Guys, if you're going to go on Big Brother, be prepared with the moves that you're going to make. You're making connections, but you're going to have to vote people out of this house.
Yeah, I'm hoping that as the season goes on, we get bolder and bolder HOHs.
Now, with the game that Lauren's trying to play, I don't necessarily think that this is like the bad way for her to do this. I just don't think that she was particularly effective with her messaging to the pawns, right? She pissed Will off. Don't think he's going to be very happy about it. Nah. She kind of lucked out having Kelly.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, if you did want to work with Keanu as like a secret, back end while you have a big shield, I think you kind of eliminated that opportunity. We got to get ready for our blockbuster and our eviction night. Kelly is particularly worried about Adrian being on the block. Adrian is, smart cookie. He's the one, right, that trained at home. So he's talked about this with the house guests with all his Big Brother training, and Kelly's nervous that she won't be able to beat him in the blockbuster.
And then she's scared if Adrian wins the blockbuster, she won't win in a vote between her and Will.
Right. Because Will is very well liked in that house. Again, he's pissed that he's a pawn, but I do think that there's some surety in him being an actual pawn. He was up against Amy last week and had no votes for him.
That's true. So let's keep going through with Thursday night's episode and see what we have going on. So we know that based on Lauren's breakdown for us last week, the house is still divided, although I think there's some shifting pieces in this puzzle. So we still have the girls plus Jimmy, but now Will is kind of on that side of the house as well. And then the boys plus Kat and Kelly. So how will the vote go? I'm not expecting a unanimous vote this week.
No, me neither. Really, any way you slice it. Even if, Adrian and Will were up there, you have the boys wanting Adrian to stay. Or you'd have the boys wanting Kelly to stay. Now, Adrian versus Kelly, I think, could be pretty interesting because they're both kind of voting for the same side. So who are they going to pull from kind of like that other side of that house of the girls plus Jimmy and Will? How are they going to divide those votes? How are they going to divide their votes internally? I wish that vote happened because that would have been fun. But these are all the things that the house guests need to be playing with because, honestly, you really don't know who you're going to have to vote for until, 2 minutes before the eviction ceremony because of this blockbuster competition. So it is a really fun comp, I think, in that way, where you have to have multiple pathways forward just prepared in your pocket.
Yeah. Contingency plans all the time. That's got to be so exhausting.
Yeah. So through all that exhausting planning, we do get a nice reprieve, a little bit of levity in the episode, a little bit of silly because we have a new showmance coming up, and it's with one of our eviction nominations in Adrian.
He does develop a little bit of a fling.
You know who he loves? Bread.
The house is literally running out of bread because this man eats too much bread.
We cut to somebody in the kitchen going, "Where's the bread?" cut back to Adrian up on the terrace in the yard, having a one-on-one date with him and a loaf of bread.
Oh my gosh.
It's kind of cute. He just goes on about how much he loves the smell of bread. But dude, people need to eat this. Sorry. At the end of the day, don't withhold food.
Yeah.
That's not a great way to stay on people's good side. We get a little bit of more insight now into this triple threat alliance and what is going on to kind of crack the foundations of this alliance. We already had Jimmy kind of pissing off Morgan and Mickey between not consulting with them, not really going a direction that the team might like, just doing Jimmy's thing when he was HOH. Big issue is that we have another alliance alert. We have another final three.
Yeah, apparently. And this formed, I think, week 1 or 2, like early on. We have Zach, Vince, and Morgan in a final 3.
So now Morgan is in 2 final 3s. Morgan actually tells Mickey right away, right up front. Because she does trust Mickey, and she does want, like, the two of them to be working really closely together.
And information is power. Information is reinforcement in this house. So
yes, unfortunately, Mickey does not take kindly to this, and I don't necessarily blame her. Their triple threat alliance with Jimmy, there's already cracks there that the two of them share in, right? They're not necessarily sharing with Jimmy in that. Although I have to imagine Jimmy's starting to pick up on that in the way that they're interacting with him. But, Mickey is in a position where she feels like her partner in crime has another alliance forming. Her current alliance with that person is now falling apart. So she feels like she's just being left behind. Morgan does ask Mickey if she wants to, like, be brought in as a fourth to that group then. And Mickey ends up getting a little bit just too paranoid, thinking that, hey, I wasn't in the original 4. They're going to take each other before they take me. But
Fair
girl,
enough.
just insulate yourself.
Yeah, true.
And you already have a
And you
number
have
one.
you have so much time to make it a strong 4 instead of a strong 3.
Yeah. So Mickey she's just kind of feeling on the outs and pissed about it. She vents a little bit to Adrian then, and she discloses this information as if it was, well-known knowledge to the house, or like something that maybe she wouldn't be the only one to know outside of the alliance itself. She tells Adrian about this final 3 with Zachy, Vinny, and Morgan. Adrian is aligned with Zach, so he tells Zach this.
So Zach said that Mickey told Adrian that Zach, Vinny, and Morgan have a final 3. Oh my gosh, it was a little bit confusing to follow, but essentially...
Yeah. It's always a big game of telephone here.
Essentially, Zach's plan is working because Zach, again, wants to split up Mickey and Morgan, or at least, like, he wants to, like, drop a little bit of a hint so that it creates a crack. And I think he's playing the long game and wanting to try to subtly make that crack evolve into them splitting up from each other. So
I mean, he does have Morgan on his side, right? And I think he feels that. And unfortunately, I guess kind of true that the cracks are there. Like, Morgan is starting to question her alliance with Mickey because of this, but for good reason. I think Zach's capitalizing on a situation, but he might also be just, like, looking out for somebody that he finds to be his number. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I think ultimately this boils down to sloppy gameplay from Mickey.
yeah, I do think
Girl,
so.
hold on to that information. What are you doing? Also, trust in your alliance with Morgan. Like, the two of you have been so close, and you're now very, very quick to just completely abandon that.
Very.
Oh my god. Ava, you cracked me up. So all that's kind of working out in the background takes us to our blockbuster competition. This is really just a really fancy version of Spot the Difference.
It's called Study the Study.
Yeah, study the study. They have to go through a secret passage between two rooms and count the number of differences that they find between these two rooms. Think, oh, one painting is different from the same location painting in the other room. That type of thing. This has a statue. This has a picture frame. Oh my. So they have to go through, count the number of differences, come back, and whoever gets the closest to the correct number without going over wins. They all come back in within the time limit.
They buzz in before the timer even goes off.
They all come in with about 30 seconds left. Kelly buzzes in first with 7. Adrian comes in with 6. And then Will comes in last with like
16.
16? Like, dude, what are...
But it's Price is Right rules, so it's closest without going over.
Yeah, no, Will, you're done for, buddy. The correct answer was 8 differences. So Kelly's our winner. She does it again, and she pulls herself off the block. Again, reinforcing.
That positive reinforcement for putting herself in a position where she can have the opportunity to win the veto or blockbuster. I love all the layers when you look at Kelly's behavior of volunteering herself to be a nomination, because we talked about negative reinforcement before, but here in this specific moment, her behavior and engaging in the comps,
yeah,
she's positively reinforced in the moment with like the rush of winning, but then negative reinforcement of she's off the block now.
Right, and that value of winning, it just seems to get bigger and bigger compared to kind of the devaluation of potentially going home because you're on the block.
Well, because you have two opportunities, right? The value of winning the veto is high because you want to be off the block. Right. You want to be safe. But then when you are still on the block, you didn't win the veto, nobody used the veto on you, and you're still on the block, eviction night, eviction's in 10 minutes. The value of winning that comp is
skyrockets.
So much higher now.
Yeah.
So the adrenaline, I'm sure, is just astronomical.
Kelly can handle the pressure. So Kelly gets to come out, bring herself off the block. Kelly.
Oh my gosh.
Now we got Adrian versus Will, our two pawns. Worst case scenario for Lauren. This is honestly a difficult vote. Which direction are they going to go?
Yeah, I was not sure.
Let's break down the split in the vote here. Ultimately, Adrian is evicted and is voted out of the house.
And can we just have a moment of silence for the fact that he will not be able to compete in the wall comp that he trained for?
Yeah, he trained so hard and never got there. It was a very emotional eviction, too. Will and Adrian were very respectful to each other. They were crying. I don't think anybody wanted either of them out of the house, to be honest with you.
I don't think. They truly were both pawns, but
yeah,
this
Lauren,
is why.
You should have just put up more targets, girl.
True. She didn't have any other targets. Kiana was her
One and
only
only
target, and
Give
she
me a
had
break.
no backup plan, so difficult.
Well, she had a backup plan. It was Kelly.
She didn't have a backup plan to her backup plan. But you need one.
You need a backup plan to your backup plan to your backup plan. You
It's
always
Big
need the
Brother.
triple backup plan.
But
What
with-
are you thinking?
But with the
Blockbuster.
blockbuster, you need to have all those layers. So
Yeah, like I said, nobody really wanted either of them to go home. Let's go through who voted to evict Adrian.
So the votes to evict Adrian included Vince, Mickey, Morgan, Zach, Jimmy, Ashley, Ava, and Rachel.
Interesting why they maybe valued Will more than Adrian. Do you think they maybe thought Adrian was more of a threat down the line?
No, I mean, at least for Rachel and Ava and anybody like closely aligned with Rachel, Rachel definitely sees the value in keeping Will around.
Right.
Because I think they're closer in age than the rest of the house. They're both parents and very family oriented. So they have a lot in common. We might see them working together in the future, I think. So I think anybody aligned with Rachel is going to keep Will around.
So this could be, maybe an outcome of Rachel's influence and ability to have pull in the house. What I kind of seeing here is that we have the Triple Threat Alliance really having the power to sway the vote whichever direction that they want to take it. Those 3 votes could very easily flip to the other side and vote out Will. So the people to vote out Will were Keanu, Catherine, Riley, and Kelly. I find it interesting that, one, Kelly and Vince are not voting together.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Whether Vince seemed to be the most torn up during eviction. He really seemed to be making that decision in the moment in the diary room with Julie. Julie asked him for his vote, and he just wavered. He was like kind of blowing his hair out. So I don't think he actually knew which way he wanted to go. Ultimately, I think he ended up voting for Adrian because he knew more that more of the house wanted to vote that way.
But on the note of Kelly and Vince working together, they do actively try to keep their alliance a secret.
Right.
So them voting separately, I guess, shouldn't be super surprising.
Do you think it was planned?
I don't know.
Interesting.
I do think it bodes well for them.
Oh, sure. I think it's good to keep that under the radar as much as you can. I do think that, the Keanu, Catherine, Riley, Kelly, like, they're the 4 people that I think are probably talking the least amount of game, at least for what is being showed throughout the episode. So it does feel like maybe they were on the outside of a vote there. And I'm really excited to see what the aftermath of this vote ends up being. Obviously, Will's going to be pleased. Will's going to feel more sure in those relationships. He's going to feel not so sure now, though, because it was not a unanimous vote like it was for him last time. So now he's like, okay, I have 4 people that were very ready to vote me out. So I anticipate Will trying to figure out who those names are. And I think it might be a bit of a pivot point to start drawing more lines in the sand. We'll see.
Good.
Yeah. Oh, I'm here for it. But yeah, I think I'm disappointed that Triple Threat isn't as strong as it ought to be, because I think they have the power to really sway these votes whichever way they want. Maybe they, did discuss it and they all wanted to vote out Adrian. Maybe it's because of valuing Rachel as a partnership. Maybe it was viewing Adrian as a threat down the line. But we didn't really get any of that in the episode, and I'd love to see more like mastermind behavior from the background here.
Me too.
But that's our week. I know I've certainly felt some differences in opinions on some of these people, but let's do our bias check. How are you feeling with your favorites in the house? Who's been the most entertaining?
So my favorites as far as gameplay, I think Rachel is playing a good game. And I think she's my number 1 right now. Though we didn't see a whole lot of gameplay with her this episode, I think we saw the results or the permanent products of behaviors that she's engaged in. I think we're seeing remnants of her gameplay, even if we're not directly seeing her on the screen. So she's my favorite as far as gameplay strategy, but for breaking down behavior, I mean, Keanu and Vince are really giving us some good material. So thanks, guys, for helping us out with this show. Yeah.
They've been very entertaining. I agree with you in that I have found Vince very entertaining. He was climbing up my leaderboard for, kind of like my favorite positioned in the house, just because of the relationships he was making and some things kind of paying off for him. I was Team Mickey. Damn, girl, that was so stupid. So sloppy of you to reveal that information to anybody. It was told to you in confidence, and you just spilled the beans like it was nothing. That does not bode well for you.
To Adrian, of all people, too. We know that he doesn't keep a secret.
Yeah, I was really disappointed to see that, because I thought that she was positioned very well in the house, and the paranoia just got to her.
So is she still up there on your favorites?
No.
Oh no!
Oh
wow.
No, that's a big no for me. She's off the leaderboard. As far as position in the house, I do actually really like where Vinny is at.
Yep.
I think he has continued to make his way up, even if he's playing a little bit risky. Does it have the potential to bite him in the butt? Yes, it does. But he's been both fun to watch, and I think insulating himself well. I also think that Zach is actually putting together good people around him in a sustainable way.
We're seeing good strategy from him.
Yeah.
We'll see how that works out for him, Cotton.
We certainly will. Ava's my favorite person to watch. She's funny.
Oh, she's hilarious.
I love a real person in this house.
Well, that's it for Ops and Allies this week. If you enjoyed this breakdown, meet us again next week, where we're going to do the same thing, but with different behavioral terms and hopefully more drama to bring to the table. And if you have a favorite house guest, let us know so that we can do a deep dive into some of their behavior as well.
I can't wait.
But for now, we're out.
See you in the diary room. Bye.
Bye.
Alliances opponents used within alliances. Operate.